Well, that kind of sucked. We have a new stream up. We're gonna try this out, and hopefully this one stays stable. The other one decided it was just going to be a big old cluster. So this one's looking good. So we'll give it a go. We've got Peter with Princesses and the Mouse joining us. We've got news. We've got a top 3, and then we'll see about the client question when we get there. We'll see you here in about a minute. That was interesting. Hi, I'm Matt. Welcome to Disney Planning Insights. Through creative content and live shows, we explain the hidden details of the Disney experience so that our clients can execute memorable adventures. Together with Princesses and the Mouse Disney Travel, we have helped hundreds of clients plan, book, and prepare for magical Disney vacations. Let our experience help you avoid common planning mistakes and maximize the enjoyment on your next Disney trip. Wow, this is brutal. Brutal this morning, this afternoon, this evening, wherever I am. Hey, it's Matt with the DPI podcast. Yeah, we had some technical difficulties there. Not anything new, but we're up, we're running, and we're going to have a good show now. We've got Peter with Princesses and the Mouse Disney Travel over on the other screen. We are going to get him on here in a second, and we are going to talk some news. So let's see what we got. Mr. Salvadori, how you doing?
Oh boy, that was a quick one. Normally we got like a minute.
I know.
Dream into a magical.
Yeah. No, I came right to you. If you're new to the show, a couple of guys. We talk a lot of Disney. We book trips. We have fun.
This show is sponsored by Circle. Not really. I'm just hoping that like maybe they send me some flavor packs for free.
So yeah.
Brilliant.
But man, you had basketball last week. And I just didn't really feel like doing a full show last week.
So I had basketball, and then tonight we're entering swim championship season. So there's actually a team get together thing. So I'm skipping out on being a dad to come hang out with you and talk about Disney. So
we'll make it quick, and you can go be a dad, because I know you guys at Hamilton Southeastern, you don't care about bedtime. So I mean, this thing will go to 11 o'clock anyway. So
yeah, I'll probably.
All right. So got some news to get into. So let's go ahead and let's get into the news. Wow, okay, that was interesting. I'm having all kinds of crazy things going on with this today, so just hang tight. I'm sure something's gonna happen. All right, big news this week was that DeSantis signed the Reedy Creek thing. We've talked about it numerous times. I mean, nothing really new, other than the fact that he's appointed the 5 members of the board now, and that kind of stuff. DeSantis isn't going to run this into the ground. It means too much to Florida. So for everybody that's really getting out of whack about this, I mean, I think it's still a big nothing burger. Other than Disney's probably saving some money because the state of Florida as a whole is picking up some of the expenses through taxes instead of just that Reedy Creek district. So, is what it is. Do you have anything else to add to that?
No, it's kind of, I do find it kind of interesting, the message, because like the media, you know, you and I kind of talked about, I don't know, mixed bag here, but the media is kind of going off the deep end on it a little bit. And I do think I was expecting more of like, I don't know, I guess more of like a congenial, and DeSantis in the press conference was kind of interesting because he basically, I don't know, almost like triumphantly declared that Disney's corporate, like,
yeah, it was a weird
stronghold
statement.
was over, and there's a new sheriff in town, and I'm thinking like, okay, but we've already talked about how this whole thing just kind of made sense for the state of Florida and the city of Orlando and the very large amount of tourism that entire area brings in. So I don't know. I was just kind of surprised at how aggressively he made it seem that he had claimed some type of a victory, unless that was, again, sort of because, like, let's be honest, we all know what DeSantis' goals are for next year. He plans 100% to be on a ticket, whether it's the main guy or the secondary guy.
Yes.
So that's like, the writing's been on the wall for years. So perhaps it was like a closed door behind the, hey, just so you guys know, I'm going to, you know, bluster and whatever else so that this can be taken by my pundits as like a really big win that I achieved so that they can take this and run with what I need for momentum heading into next year. So I was kind of just surprised by, I don't know, the machismo that he laid it out on the table with.
Yeah, it was kind of one of those beat my chest moments for him. But again, I think it's more just, hey, look what I did against a liberal organization more than anything. Like I said,
Right.
In the end, it's not going to change a whole hell of a lot. So it changes the name. It adds a couple more members to the board, but it gives the state of Florida a little bit more control over who's on that board. That's about it. So,
Right.
Is Tron a 4-minute ride?
I don't. Maybe from the moment you start getting in the restraints.
I was gonna say Disney's trying to tell everybody that Tron's a 4-minute ride.
Well, it's not like 94 seconds.
Yeah. So
Maybe from the moment they say lane 3.
Yeah, Disney put out this big thing on the 22nd about, oh, Tron is a 4-minute ride. Whoa. No, it's not.
No, it's not. It lasts 60 seconds.
Yes.
I just went and looked it up. I'm like, so literally like the 4 minutes might be, right? Because we have ad nauseum talked about how Rise of the Resistance is much more than the 5-minute ride once you're sitting in the vehicle. The experience really starts about 20 minutes before you get off.
Correct.
So maybe Disney's counting that. From the moment we say, go get in lane 2, to the moment you get off, that's 4 minutes.
So Shannon said, so it's a full minute ride. Yeah.
Like just under, I think. According to, because right now the more rides are happening. And so I think somebody said like 58 seconds or something like that.
And they're adding more of those accessibility cars to the trains now. So now 3 trains have those accessibility cars at the end.
Yeah, I saw that as well, because originally it was supposed to be 2 of them, I believe. And so, and now, yay, America.
That's about what it's come down to.
Really, by the end of this, right, here's what's going to happen. At the end of it, You're gonna like outside of Tron in the back lot, you're gonna all of a sudden see like 5 brand new trains, and then under the cover of darkness, they're gonna switch them out and be like, "Oh, we put the America trains on."
Well, it's gonna be the People Mover and Wall-E is what it's gonna be. I mean, so Disney Cruise Line released their new Castaway Club member benefits, now including the updated Pearl members. The best perk for the Pearl is unlimited digital photo downloads because those photos on the ships are expensive. But I mean, a lot of the things stay the same. Basically, what Pearl gets is they get an extra day for early booking. They get 3 extra days for activities, but then everything else is basically the same except for the photo download.
I'm just kind of cracking up at like the way that Iger and then the lower level, well, not lower level because there's still like high senior management in this company, the people in charge of cruise line and parks and all of them. I like how it's becoming a common trend, like, oh, you're mad at us? Well, what if we give you free pictures?
Yeah.
Because that's exactly the same news going on right now with like, hey, you should get Genie Plus because now every day that you get Genie Plus, we're also going to put in the photo pass. Like, oh my gosh. I was talking to a client the other day and I was walking them through the app over the phone. And so I was just kind of going in the app along with explaining it to them just so I could fully help them navigate. And they asked about Genie Plus, and I told them where to click to purchase it, and it was $25 per person.
Yeah.
The other day over President's Day weekend.
Yeah, it hit the highest it had ever been. $25 per person.
That is just nuts.
$100 for a family of 4. That's ridiculous.
Like, and if I go for like 4 or 5 days, I'm already... Now, when you bundle it all into a package, but really, if you rip it out, if you go to the parks for 5 days with a family of 4, about $2,500 to $2,700 of your package, depending on the age of the kids, is the park tickets. And then on top of that, for those 5 days, another $500. So now you're getting $3,200-ish out of for just the going into the park. Now, on the flip side of that, I got the express pass and everything for Universal plus the park hopper and all that stuff to be able to go park to park last year for my son, and I think I came in just north of $1,500 for the day for 3 adults and my 12-year-old, so technically 4 adults.
Yeah.
So I mean, I get it, but I don't know. Maybe this is just an overall commentary of the price of entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, everything's going up, but this seems like it's dramatic, and I think they're really kind of playing the let's see how far we can push it. I mean, we've been talking about this for a while. How far can Disney push it until people stop buying it?
It's starting to, the vibe is starting to feel like a farmer with a cow who is not producing milk. I gotta get every drop out of this cow.
Yeah, I mean, at some point it's going to stop. I mean, the country is in the beginnings of a recession. It's going to be in a recession for probably the next 16, 18 months. You know, you're going to have people with that expendable income, but the majority of the people that are going to spring for that aren't going to be the ones that have that expendable income. And I think where you're going to lose people is you're losing that family of 4 that used to be able to go down to the parks for $4,000.
Right.
You don't have that anymore.
If you want to do that, you're only going to the park for like 2 or 3 days with like a 3 or 4 night stay.
Exactly.
And you used to be able to get a 6-night stay and 4-day tickets, 5-day tickets.
Yeah.
And now you can get 2 to 3 day tickets and a 3 to 4 night stay.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, I was talking about this with that client. They were just kind of, I said, oh yeah, me and this guy that I kind of do a podcast with, we talked about that when they first started offering Genie Plus and these individual lightning lanes. We said, here's the deal. If nobody buys it, then Disney will be forced to shift back. But everybody keeps, well, not everybody, but so many people keep buying it. And so, that's the deal. If everybody going to Disney World for the next month went on to social media groups and said, listen, we're going to show it. We're going to stick it to Disney. We're not going to buy these. Like, let's show them we want the old system back, that we want our money's worth. Do not buy Lightning Lane and Genie Plus. That would sound amazing, even if all of the people, like, verbally agreed to it. But then at 7 a.m., some jackass would be like, haha, nobody else is doing it. Imagine how many bookings I'm going to get. Right?
Some social media influencer is going to do it. That's going to ruin it for everybody.
Right. Speaking of, like, look, I wrote 15 things on Genie Plus, so it's already, we're back.
So, speaking of places to stay, the Vacation Club is now sharing the villas at Disneyland Hotel pictures. This is going to be open in September over at Disneyland. And for Disney Vacation Club members, March 15th is the reservation window for Disney Vacation Club. March 16th for Magic Key. March 17th for general public. So if you are planning a trip out to Disneyland and want to stay in these new villas, there you go. If you base it off of what the Grand Californian stuff is going for, be prepared, $700 a night. Easy.
Mm-hmm. This is huge, though, because one of the big complaints from the DVC side is that DVC is essentially a Disney World hotel membership, but you can also stay at 4 other places.
Yeah.
Because you can go to Vero Beach and Hilton Head, or you can go to Grand Californian, or you can go to Alani.
Yeah.
Now, you can use your points for lots of other things. So before a DVCer comes running on going, well, what about blah, blah, blah? Yes.
They're terrible uses of points once you get outside of that stuff.
They really, really are.
Even Alani's a terrible use of points.
Well, if you're going on a trip to Hawaii and you have the points, I completely understand why you would use it on Alani. And then, yeah, the Hilton Head and Vero Beach are just so ridiculously cheap that, I mean, it almost feels like, okay. Like, you can basically go for like 4 or 5 days to Vero Beach for the cost of like a 1-bedroom suite at Grand Floridian for a night.
Yeah.
So it's like, might as well just use a little bit of points here. But this is really big because if you're not a Disneylander and your DVC is not at Grand Californian, it is near impossible to get bookings with your DVC. For those of you that don't know DVC, you get 11 months out at your home resort, but then you get 7 months out at all other Disney resorts and properties.
Yeah.
And so Grand Californian is a lot of times, even when you get 7 months out, if you want to go for 2, 3, 4 days because you're from some other part of the country, chances are all those days aren't together. And if they are, I guarantee it's like a Monday to Thursday stay. It's not like something where you could go out over a long weekend, because all the more local DVC Grand Californian people. So my hope is that with this new resort going on, that maybe there's a chance for more Florida DVCers to start spreading their business over to California.
Oh yeah. I think it's going to be a big thing there, and you figure you've got that opening up. You're going to have the new tower at the Polynesian opening up soon. They're still talking about that Epcot resort that's probably going to be DVC. I wish they would have kept Reflections on the table. That would have been an awesome DVC resort. I mean, and you got to look at what's going to happen here, because Old Key West is getting ready to eclipse its 30. So at some point they're going to have to re-up Old Key West, which means it's either going to be a complete redo of Old Key West, or they're going to add something major there. Because everybody that has Old Key West right now, the original DVC members, are falling off now. They've hit their 30.
Yes.
So, it's going to change a lot of things. You're seeing the big refresh at Saratoga Springs. It looks nice. Big refresh at the Grand Floridian. So a lot of stuff going on the DVC side.
And Grand Floridian is nice.
Yeah.
And you and I have already talked about that. And that same thing's going to happen here in about 5 to 10 years with Boardwalk and Beach Club. So, yeah, lots of them are kind of re-upping for brand new contracts.
Okay, a couple of things real quick as we get out of the news. Cast member discounts announced for a Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser. They're doing whatever they can to get people into that thing right now. It's absolutely terrible. Rogers the Musical, I kind of speculated on this a couple weeks ago. That is exactly what's going in the Hyperion Theatre. They have a casting call out for specific roles now. And Disneyland Paris is holding a D23 Gold member exclusive event in April. I know. It is $590 for 2 days, exclusive areas for D23 for those 2 das. So premier access passes, everything for 2 days.
You mean extend your stay by 3 weeks?
No.
We're just moving to Paris.
That's it. Mando and Grogu are going to be at Discoveryland starting tomorrow through the 14th, and Red Panda May is going to make their first ever experience at Disney Parks debut at Shanghai Disneyland this spring. So a lot of things. Oh yeah, and Magic Happens came back. If you wonder what that is, go over to our YouTube page and check it out. We've got a video that has 133,000 views of that parade. So check that out. 1,081 days that's been gone. Are you looking forward to Mandalorian tomorrow?
Oh yeah! Oh my gosh, yes. Tomorrow, I am absolutely going to stay up until midnight and see if it launches onto it right at midnight, because I will stay up and watch it.
There you go.
Tomorrow's the one day where I don't have to be up at 5 a.m.
There you go.
The one day of the week.
Hey, it's going to be awesome. We've been waiting about what? So the original one was supposed to come out, or season 3 was supposed to originally come out in the fall of 2020.
Yeah, but we kind of got a little bit, like, I don't feel like it's been gone, because it's basically been gone for over 2 years. Yeah. Almost 2 years. From the season finale of season 2. But he showed up in Book of Boba, so you're kind of like, oh, well, I got a little Din Djarin action.
Yeah.
So it's exciting to have him back doing his.
Yep. Diz Inferno over on YouTube. I hope for some badass Bo-Katan stuff. Yeah, I'm super excited. As a family, we're super excited.
I'm excited to see Mandalore. I gotta believe he has to go to, like, one of the first things he's got to do is go to Mandalore. Yeah. And I don't understand how the armorer could be like, then you're Mandalore no more. I'm literally holding the leader sword. I'm like, how can you tell me, your leader, that I'm no longer a Mandalorian?
All right, well, that's the end of the news, so you know what time it is.
Top 3.
Top 3 time. Let's go ahead and get over to that. Business trip.
Did the people move around?
It does tingle a little bit. Hey, everybody, it's Matt with the DPI podcast, and it is Disney Top 3 time. I've got Peter with Princesses and Mouse Disney Travel, and what we're going to do is we are going to pull out a poker chip that has a number on it. I've got a spreadsheet with a corresponding list of categories that we're going to pick our favorite or our least favorite items from, and we're going to have some fun with it. If you got any ideas for the show, go over to the website, patmdisneytravel.wixsite.com/planning. Up in the top right corner, you can add a comment and give us an idea for a show. We've had a few come through, and they've been pretty fun. So, always love the participation. So today we are going to be doing lucky number 13.
There's not a lucky number.
I know. It's also a no wait time on.
Oh, that's true. That's
Haunted
a walk
Mansion.
online on Tower of Terror. Yep, you're absolutely right. It is.
So, number
And Haunted
13.
Mansion.
Ooh. This is a good one. We've both done this at the parks, so we'll probably step all over each other's feet on this one. But we're going to do the top 3 romantic restaurants or dining experiences. You've got...
Do they have to be currently available?
No, they don't have to be currently available.
Okay.
Planning your first trip and getting overwhelmed by all the details? Planning your next trip and just want some new suggestions on things you haven't tried? Contact me at Princess and the Mouse Travel, and I'd love to work with you planning your next trip to the most magical place on earth.
You can contact Princesses and the Mouse Disney Travel on Facebook at PATM Disney Travel. We need to have a coin on ones like this, just so we can figure out who goes first and who doesn't.
We need to, during this time, have a quick spout out so that we're like, okay, you do that, I'll do this, you do that, I'll do that.
No, that's not fair, because I mean, part of the fun of this is kind of stepping on each other's feet. So I'm going to let you go first, because I've got 4.
Okay.
So I think I can survive 2.
I know there's no way that you're going to take my number 1, because you haven't done it. So really, I just need to survive these first 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a little cliche. So I'm going to go with kind of a cliche one for my number 3. And that is if you are on a couples only trip, which totally love couples only trips. My wife and I have now been on 3 or so couples only trips. Matt and I have been on a couples only trip.
Yep.
Which was romantic.
He kept leaving to go to the bar.
Yeah, as I've been known to do. I do that on family trips, actually. And then we're kind of like, in September, we're planning a dual couples trip.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
So anyway, on couples only trips, we can talk about just sort of like the nicety of being able to just not have to work on the kids' schedule, and the nicety of you're not, you don't feel like you have to rush in from park open to park closed. But even if you do, it's totally fine if, like, in the middle of the day you literally spend like 2 hours just sitting and having a snack and a drink and just looking out at the water in Epcot or Hollywood Studios or whatever. So just the environment of being there as a couple is completely different than being there as a family. But I'm going to pinpoint specific spots. So one of my favorite things that we have done on our couples only trips with my wife has been to go to a romantic dinner, because there are kind of some places where you can go that there's families can still go, but not a lot of families book there. So my number 3 is kind of cliche because a lot of people do it, but I'm going to say have dinner at Le Cellier.
Okay.
Dinner at Le Cellier in Epcot, for those of you that have never been there, you kind of weave back to where the O Canada Theater is, where they do the Appleseed Orchard, and typically the honey, or not the honey, I think it's still apple-based during Flower and Garden Festival as well. It's right there along that path, and basically what it is you are, the decor is sort of a wine cellar in a Canadian chateau.
Yes.
And it's a relatively small restaurant, so you already get a very intimate feel. And then the menu is a fine steakhouse. And so the whole thing can really set itself up to be a really, really romantic experience for you and your partner, because you're having really nice either steak or pork or chicken dishes. You're going to couple that with a really, really amazing wine list. You can do kind of like a dining experience where like it's got the wine that pairs the best with the meal. And if you do an appetizer, it's got the wine that pairs best with that. So you can sort of do a appetizer with this glass of wine, meal with this glass of wine. So it's a really, really fantastic dining experience and a really, really nice, quiet, quaint, romantic feeling environment. So I'm going to go with dinner at Le Cellier is a fantastic thing to do on a couple's trip.
Yeah.
Matt,
I'm right there with you. That was definitely one of the restaurants that I was looking at when I thought about this. I'm gonna go with the other meal, and I'm gonna circle back to dinner here in a bit. But one of my favorite things to do, and we've done it as a family, but I think on a couple's trip is you do have that set your own pace, and breakfast for us tends to be slower when we don't have the kids because we aren't rushing to the park. So one of my favorite breakfasts to do is the Grand Floridian Cafe. And it's a great little restaurant, and it's usually got a ton of availability, but it's one of the only places that you can get a large Mickey waffle. So Shannon loves it. But you can pair that Mickey waffle with a mimosa or something like that, or a really high-end coffee drink, and really have a really nice breakfast in a really nice location, because Grand Floridian Cafe kind of looks out into the garden area of the Grand Floridian, in that commons area, and it's all glass. It just beautiful little area to just kind of sit down and just hang out and have a nice slow breakfast and then get into the parks on your own time. So my number 3 is going to be having a breakfast at Grand Floridian Cafe. Let's go ahead and get into our number 2.
I really like that one. That is a really good one because the mornings kind of feel different. How many times when you're there with the family are you get the kids up and start getting them dressed and ready, and I'm going to run down to the quick service and grab the food, and we're either bring it up to the room or have it at the table because we got to be at the park. We got to be on the buses in 15 minutes.
Yeah, or you're split and you've got 2 people in the line at Starbucks. You've got 2 people running back to Gaston's Tavern to get cinnamon rolls. And
Yep, all of it. Yep. Or, hey, you go get in the line, and then I'll catch up with you while I swing into the Starbucks right here. Yeah. Oh, it just way different. When you're there with your couple, you're like, hey, you want to go get Starbucks? Yeah, let's get Starbucks, and let's just go sit outside Starbucks and drink them slowly and leisurely.
Yeah, and actually see like the Dapper Dans in the morning or something.
Yeah. So I was, for my number 2, I was thinking exactly along the same lines as you. So one of my favorite things to do on a couples-only trip is my favorite time at Disney is when the sun goes down, because it could be 100 degrees all day long, but as the sun starts to set, it will always cool down to like a mid to high 70s or better, and the humidity will always drop as that sun starts to go down. And so my favorite thing is Disney at night with the person that you're there with on those couples only trips, because and this goes, we can talk about this everywhere. We can talk about like leisurely coming out of the park, enjoying this nice cool air, or coming out of, say, Epcot and taking a stroll around the boardwalk, or getting back to your resort and taking a late night stroll and just enjoying the sound of the insects in the air and the coolness. And maybe you swing by the bar and grab yourself a drink on your like leisurely stroll around the resort. Just going for late night walks is one of my favorite things to do. It's just a great time. Just kind of decompress from the day, just enjoy a nice conversation with one another away from because you can still get in the hustle and bustle of, oh, let's go to this right now. Ooh, we've got this dining reservation in a little bit.
Yeah.
So at night, you're not rushing back to the room. You don't have to leave a parent in the room with the kids. You can just enjoy some time together, whether that is taking a leisurely stroll or going to one of the night situations. Like I love going to Abracadabra. and other things because we do stay around the boardwalk quite a bit. It's just really nice to have that slow-paced evening and not having to like, oh, well, it's 9:30. We got to get this one to bed so that they can be up at 6:30 so that we can go tomorrow morning. It's, oh, we can stay out till 11 or whatever and then wake up around 7 or 8. No worries, you know.
Yeah, one thing that we've been able to do a couple of times without having the kids is we tend to go on our couples trip while they're taping for the Christmas specials. So being able to stay after park close and be a part of those has been really cool. You know, enjoying that cooler air, staying out a little bit later without having the kids, and being able to enjoy some of that stuff that goes on at the parks after hours is really cool. So my number 2, I have a few different things, but I really want to hit on this because I really feel like there's like 3 or 4 like just top end dining experiences when it comes to couples, and I want to hit wow. Where'd that thought bubble just go? I have no clue what that thought was. It is something.
Pick a high-end dining experience.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. What's the
Do
one?
you remember the park? Was it in a park?
No, it was on top of the Contemporary.
Oh, yeah. That's funny. California Grill.
Cali Grill. Thank you, Shannon. You yell it.
What?
Shannon yelled it up first.
What? That's ridiculous.
You're on like a 2-second delay. California Grill. And California Grill, during the 50th, it's had a really cool menu and wine pairings thing, but California Grill is a great place to kind of get dressed up, go have a nice meal, and then, you know, just stay there and watch the fireworks from there. You've got a great observation deck there that as long as you've got a reservation from 5 o'clock on that day, you can enjoy the fireworks from that observation deck. Grab, a glass of wine or a drink, go out there, chill out, watch the Magic Kingdom fireworks show. Just a really, really cool, just high-end experience. I mean, there's a lot of high-end experiences at Disney, but just, one of those signature experiences is, having a dinner at Cali Grill, watching the fireworks from there, and, you're getting your highway dine in the sky.
Hey, you sell that. Shut up. Don't steal number 1.
But yeah, that's really, really, really cool thing. So, my number 2 is you do one of those signature experiences like Cali Grill and enjoy the fireworks there. So let's go ahead and get to our number 1s before Peter blows his top over there. And Peter, before you get too into what it is, tell people where they can find you.
Over on Facebook. Well, you can find me here on most Tuesdays. But,
we're getting into golf season, so.
Yeah, that's true. Golf season starts in a week and a half. We'll see what happens. Facebook's the best place. If you just find me there, send me a message or go to our Wix site. I think Princess and the Mouse Travel. If you find me on Facebook, you can send me a messenger directly. Wix site scrolls throughout this podcast, so you can go there and fill out a vacation request form. Either way, should get back to you relatively quickly and be able to start kind of getting things planned for you. I would love to talk to you about whatever it is, whether it's cruise line or land or Paris or whatever. Obviously World, we talk a lot about World on this show, but I can help you out with all those other things as well. And beyond Disney as well. So if you're just thinking about taking a trip or taking a cruise and whatever else, I'd still love to talk to you and see if I can help you out. Worst case, I say, I don't have a lot of experience with that. I'm not the best person, but I'll be honest with you when it comes to that. So would love to talk to you. Yeah.
Sounds good. So what is your number 1?
We already know what my number 1 is. So it is not currently available, but I really, really hope that they bring this back because my wife and I did this for our 10th anniversary. So at this point, it is approaching 5 years ago. It was gotten rid of with COVID, but as we have seen, they have slowly and steadily been bringing things back. So my number one thing I have ever done at Disney World with my wife, and my ring is popping up here. There we go. Oh no! What the heck? I got rid of it, and then it came back stronger. So it is the Highway in the Sky, and as you can see with it, it's got the 3 monorail resorts: Polynesian, Contemporary, Grand Floridian. The way that it worked is it's a little bit pricey, but you start at, then it was called the Wave. Now it would be Steakhouse 71. You start in the lobby of that with an appetizer. And then you board the monorail and you head around to Polynesian. And at Polynesian, you go to kind of a private roped off area near Ohana. And they bring you appetizers along with some drinks. And then you head over to Grand Floridian and you go to Narcoosee and you sit down and have a full dinner. And you choose from several menu options. And the reason why this experience sticks out is because it's small. The maximum number of people that they'll take is 20. And when we went, it was 6 couples and 2, it was a group of 4 like gal pals, and then it was a family where it was like 2 teenage kids with a mom and dad, which is totally allowed. There is a minimum age, so you can't be under like the age of 12, I think, or something like that. In order to do this experience. But because of the way it sorted itself out, they took the 2 foursomes out to some tables by the windows, and then they took the 12 of us, and the 12 is exactly the number that fits around the chef table inside of the wine cellar at Narcoosee's. And so we got to eat this amazing meal, and we got kind of doted upon because you basically get one of the, it's not the chef, but one of the cooks from the kitchen, whether it was the sous or the person in charge of like plating or whatever, they were kind of your waiter, and they were coming out to explain your dishes and just sort of giving you like this nth degree treatment. And then after,
it was the mop boy.
right. It was the pleasure. Alfredo linguine. So then you get back on the monorail, you go all the way back around to Contemporary where you started, and they bring you up to this like private balcony right underneath of California Grill where Matt was just talking about. And so they have seats out, and you have desserts, and again more drinks, and you get this sort of like, they pipe in the music, and you have this like private viewing from a distance of the fireworks show over at Magic Kingdom. And so it was beyond worth it. We were there for our 10th anniversary, and we actually did it on our 10th anniversary. And it was funny because 2 other couples were also there doing it on their 10th anniversary. And so we then got together with together with one of the couples because we found out we were both going to the same park the next day. We got together with one of the other couples because we found out we were both staying on the boardwalk. And so we got together at Abracadabar one night with them. We still talked to both of those couples. When we were there in October, one of those couples was there with their family, and we met them outside of Sunshine Tree Terrace. And we sat down for like 45 minutes just having ice cream and stuff like that because we were both at the Not So Scary party together. And the other couple lives in Chattanooga. And so when we're driving, we'll try to stay near Chattanooga or kind of move through Chattanooga at a time where we can like get together for lunch and get out of the car for a bit. So like the experience was amazing. The itinerary was amazing. It's really cool to hop from thing to thing to thing. It's this really romantic experience, this really unique experience. And you're going to also get, because it's so intimate, you're going to get to know some people, and those people have become a part of our lives, which is really, really cool approaching 5 years later.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Great number one. You know, my number one, I'm going to go somewhere different. It's not something that Shannon and I have done by ourselves. We've always done it with the family, but it is something that could make a great couples experience. And that's getting one of the photography sessions, whether it's a capture your moment or...
I knew it was going to be your number one because I was going to bring that up. I was like, no, Matt will kill me. Nope, he's going to talk about photography sessions. Dude. I was like, we have a friend who did engagement photos, and they were amazing. And yeah, you keep talking about it. Yes.
I mean, the capture a moment, you can add on to a photo pass for $20 for 15 minutes, $25 for 15 minutes, and you can book them back to back. So you can actually get like a half-hour photo session for like under $100 with a Disney photographer. Or you can get all the way up into, you know, where you get the family pictures. You can get engagement photos there. You can get, you know, high school graduation photos there. Anything that you want. And that stuff's starting to come back. Not full-fledged yet. The Capture Your Moments back, but nothing else has come back from fine art yet. But it is stuff that's going to come back because they made an absolute killing on it. And there's always a huge demand for that kind of stuff. On top of that, you can get married there. I mean, it's a lot of money. I won't say that I haven't looked at it. But I mean, even for, you know, $15,000-$20,000, you can get married and have a small wedding at Disney, which is pretty cool when you think about what you're going to spend $15,000-$20,000 on in your hometown, especially if you live in a big city. So, but no, getting back to the photos, no, just a really cool idea. A lot of times you have dedicated PhotoPass photographers. In some of the sessions, you have a photographer and an assistant. Some of the sessions, you have two photographers. So it's a lot of fun. Most of the sessions, you get retouching done on the photographs before they're sent to you. It's just really, really cool. Some of the ones that Shannon and I have gotten together in our family sessions have been fantastic photos that we've got up around the house. So, no, just a great idea. Something kind of outside of the box a little bit that you have to look for because it's not really widely broadcast. It's not advertised really well on things that you can do, but definitely check out that Capture Your Moment if you're going to do like a quick, you know, a pop-up engagement or something like that. You know, great idea to have a Disney PhotoPass photographer with their equipment there to capture it. So my number one is going to be get some professional photos done at Disney. So, Peter.
I did know. I knew that was going to be your number one. So I was like, all right.
It really depended on where you went because I was going to go with a tour as well. But since you went with kind of like an Adventures by Disney type thing for your number one, I was staying away from that.
And my wife and I have done other tours. Like I talked specifically about the Highway in the Sky. But tours in general, my wife and I have done the Wild Africa Trek. We did the Taste of Magic Kingdom. Like, tours are 100% something you should be thinking about doing if you are on an adults-only trip. Because toting around the kids, they don't care. But if you're a Disney fan, which, I mean, you obviously are. You're going on a couples-only trip to Disney.
Yeah.
Like, it is a fantastic use of a few hours of your day to see Disney a completely different way. Like, we have pretty much every time my wife and I go down on a trip, we're like, let's try to do another tour.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the behind the scenes stuff, you talk about some of that stuff. We've been in the Christmas, the holiday warehouse. We've been in the casting and costuming building. We've been in places that you'd never go unless you were doing one of those tours. And just, it's a great idea, especially if you're both Disney lovers, to check out some of those behind-the-scenes places and have some different people talk to you about Disney and how it works. You know, there's tours that get you down into the utilidors. There's tours that get you into some of the kitchen areas, that kind of stuff. I mean, it's all about what you're into, so yeah.
It really is. It's really cool.
Well, Peter, another good top 3. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully, you'll be back next week. Yeah? Eh?
Yeah, next week. Yeah.
Okay, cool. We will see you next week then. Thank you guys all for joining us.
A question mark. We'll see.
All right.
Do you have questions concerning planning a Disney trip? Ask them live on the show or submit them on our website at patmdisneytravel.wixsite.com/planning. Hey,
Everything worked. I think that's a first, that everything has worked on the DPI question transition.
Everything else didn't work tonight, but
yeah,
that worked.
That worked. No, seriously, like my bit rate out when I did the first stream was under 1,000 kilobytes per second, and normally it's like 6,000. So I was getting like 1 out of every 6 frames to go through. So yeah, you were talking about Genie Plus. Here's a good question. I think it's really something that, unless you know about it, you don't know what's happening. Talk about how they price Genie Plus day to day.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you from empirical evidence, but honestly, I don't even know if I know. Thing one, it'll never be cheaper than $15 per person per day. That's thing one. But then, yeah, and it kind of, Genie Plus and individual lightning lanes can all umbrella under this same talk, because there's a couple of things and a couple of factors that go into it. So number one is they're going to look at park reservations, because park reservations tells them their expected amount of guests across all 4 parks.
Yeah.
And when you get to things like weekends and especially holiday weekends, you're obviously going to see surges. Like right now, we're heading into March. So here in about 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to see surge in attendance that will go for approximately a month. And so that's part of the beauty that Disney 100% does not have to do park reservations anymore, but they are, because it's data for them. They used to get their hotel guests and their ticket purchases, but then in terms of the annual pass holders, it was a question mark in terms of how many people are coming. And so now with the park reservation system, Disney has an almost exact number of heads that are going to walk through the gates. And so that allows them to then price these things, to be completely frank, the gougiest as possible. So if you're on a lower attendance day, you can expect to see prices down closer to that $15 price point. And when you talk about the individual rides, you can expect to see things like Seven Dwarfs and down closer to, and Flight of Passage. You can expect to see them kind of down closer to $8 to $10 a person. And on higher days, you can expect to see those up in the $12 to $13 range. On the Rise of the Resistance, Guardians of the Galaxy, and soon to be Tron, replacing Seven Dwarfs here very soon. Like, really, all 4 rides now are going to all kind of fluctuate similarly to one another. Yeah. On the cheaper days, you can expect to see them maybe down closer to like $13, $14, $15 per person. And on more expensive days, expect to see it upwards of $18 to $20 per person for all 4 of the rides that, like, they haven't, like, we know 100% that when the virtual queue opens in April, that individual lightning lanes in Magic Kingdom will go to Tron as well. Yes. So, like, 100% we know that. So in the same way they did with the Guardians of the Galaxy. So we totally expect that to happen. Because like on those lesser days, they're going to bring the price down to entice more to do it. And on those busier days, they're going to gouge a little bit higher, but it will also deter more from doing it, which will then allow them to fulfill kind of their end of the deal. Because the deal is, if you pay this amount of money, you're supposed to, on the Genie Plus side, you're supposed to be able to book 2 or more experiences. And on the individual Lightning Lane side, you're wanting to grab a reservation to what will likely be the longest wait time in the park that day. Yeah. So it pretty much works that kind of way. So Genie Plus $15 to $25 per person per day. We just saw $25 per person per day last week, and it was the highest it's ever been. And same thing on the individual lightning lanes. I have paid for Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind at $15 per person, and I've paid for it at $18 per person. It is what it is, but that's kind of how it works. So if you see a lower price, good news, you're there on a slightly less busy day. And if you see a higher price, you're there on a much busier day. And I kind of try to budget this with clients. Boy, it becomes really, really expensive really quick if you buy Genie Plus and the individual lightning lane.
Yeah.
And so my generic recommendation is Magic Kingdom. Genie Plus might be worth it just because of the sheer number of attractions. Epcot, Cosmic Rewind is probably worth it because you don't want to wait in that line.
Yeah.
And there aren't a ton of other attractions where if you early park, like if you focus on getting to Soarin' and Test Track and back to Frozen before their lines surge over an hour, you've got everything done, and you've got your individual lightning lane to Cosmic Rewind.
Yeah.
Kind of same thing at Animal Kingdom. I would recommend the Flight of Passage over the Genie Plus purchase. In Hollywood Studios, I can literally flip a coin, because if I get my Rise of the Resistance, then I'm going to go rope drop Toy Story Land. Yeah. And then if I get Genie Plus, then I'm going to rope drop Rise of the Resistance. Like, you kind of flip a coin on what you might want to purchase.
Yeah. Is there a tipping point that you see right now where you would tell a client, if you see something at this price, don't get it?
I really can't say that, because at the end of the day, it's really a judgment call on the client. And I try to do a service to my clients, and I will straight up tell my clients this. Like, I had a client say, hey, the cheapest thing we're seeing, so it was a family of 6, 4 kids, 2 adults. 2 of the kids were even over 18. And so they reached out to me and they said, hey, the cheapest thing that we're seeing is this suite that's going to run us this much money. And I said, did you think about doing 2 rooms? Because we can put them near one another and we could save you $2,000. And they went, well, right? Like, one of the things about me is I am not, when you contact me and say, hey, here's what, we want to go to Disney. My first question is, do we care about the grandeur of the resort, or do we need a place to lay our head? Because if it's the first thing, then, all right, so clearly you're going for like 7 days and 4 of them are going to be at the resort. So now we do want something with a slide and with better amenities and with higher guest services. So maybe we are talking about for sure an intermediate to maybe even a deluxe resort. But if you need a place to lay your head, the biggest I'm going to recommend to you is something like a Caribbean Beach or a Port Orleans. Yeah. And I might even say, hey, why don't we go to Pop Century? I'm not out to like push your budget. I want you to have an amazing time, and I want you to make fantastic memories with your families. And so this topic goes right into there. When clients and I talk about Genie Plus and talk about Lightning Lane, it's really a question of, are you happy with what you get to, or do you have a targeted goal in mind? Because if you're happy with what you get to, then don't buy any of it. It's just a money suck that you could spend on souvenirs or dining or whatever else. And if you 100% know, like, we're going to Magic Kingdom for 1 day and we want to try to do it all, we have list, then I'm going to say you're not going to get it done without Genie Plus. So,
no, I think it's very fair conversation. It very much comes down to the client on what they are expecting out of the trip. Because once you set those expectations, there's a cost that's associated with those expectations as well. And then that's where we come in as planners and say, okay, if you want to do all of these things and see all of these places, this is how much it's probably going to cost you.
Yeah, and then for my clients that are maybe a little bit more affluent, that are, doing the 5-6 night stay at a deluxe resort, but they're still getting park tickets for every day. Well, they're going to do Genie Plus, and I'm just explaining how it's going to work because they don't want to be bothered with the idea, like, oh, I want this to be as relaxing and stress-free as possible. And so standing in line for 10 hours of my day doesn't sound enjoyable. Yeah. I would rather take that extra expense for the convenience of it all. So it really just depends on the person and what they're trying to get. But I am going to do my best to give you as much insight and understanding as I possibly can and make it so that your budget, but your goals and your expectations are met in every way that we can possibly make it.
All right, Peter, one more time, where can people find you?
Find me over on Facebook. If you type in Princess and the Mouse, you'll find me towards the top. Even if you type in Disney Travel Agent, I come up a lot of times towards the top of those results. And I know my name kind of circulates around. Like I had a client reach out last week that said, "Hey, I found you on Mommy Group." And so you might find me there as well. So would love to talk to you, though. And like I said, what's great, this is not my 9 to 5. It is a passion project, if you will. And so my goal is not to find out how big of a price tag I can put on your name. It's what price tag will it take to get you what you're looking for.
Yep. Sounds good, man. Well, thank you for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and get into the outro. Peter with Princess of the Mouse Disney Travel joined us tonight. We had a new segment, Top 3, that we talked about romantic experiences and a client question about Genie Plus. If you're looking for us on social media, you can find us just about everywhere. Over on Facebook at DPI Podcast for the podcast, on PATM Disney Travel for the travel site, over on Twitter at Disney Insights, and you're probably watching us over on the YouTube channel, the Disney Planning Insights Podcast. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Thank you, everybody, for watching, listening, subscribing, sharing, liking, everything that you do for us on a weekly basis. What a great show, and we will talk to you guys all